So my name is Captain Ronald Karauri, the MP for Kasarani. And first of all, I want to say that I'm actually very pleased that the President has activated the emergency multi-agency response team, because we are actually facing a national disaster. I think the floods we've seen in Nairobi have never been seen before. And even the amount of rain, I don't think that's the greatest amount of rainfall we've seen, but we're just seeing the effects of continual urbanization of the city and a sewer system or a drainage system that is incapacitated and unable to deal with the flow of water. In my constituency, Kasarani, I think the whole country has seen some of the clips where a matatu was submerged and we had a truck, and those areas have never been that flooded before. But as I was stating yesterday, in terms of the topography of Nairobi, most of the water flows all the way down into one of my wards called Ruai. And as you'll see, the effect in terms of devastation from the floods is very, very major in that particular part of Nairobi. So as this response team has been activated, and in terms of the emergency response and rescuing the people who have been displaced by the floods, I've always complained about, in terms of allocation of the funds, even in terms of development in Nairobi, it needs to be done in such a manner that the places that are most affected get the lion's share of the funds, or in terms of even the emergency response. So I'm calling out that because of the effect we've had, not only in Ruai, but if you look downstream, all the way to Mwiki, all the way to Majimazuri, all the way to Budalangi, we've had families that have been displaced, and we need the emergency response team to ensure that they go on the ground in those places and ensure the people who have been displaced are given the whatever they require. Many of them don't even have food. Yesterday I had to even get boats to an area called Infinity in Mwiki to rescue some of the families. But remember, these families now, even if they go back to those places they live, they are still in danger. The forecast is that we are going to have even more rainfall in the coming days. And to check the effectiveness of an emergency response team, or in terms of disaster, is to see how well prepared you are for the days to come. So now we can see it coming. And now that it has been activated, we expect a better job in terms of responding to the citizen. There are people who live in those areas which are next to the rivers. Again, they need to be evacuated. But as the Deputy President promised yesterday, this will be done in a humane manner. And they need to be told well in advance so that they can go to higher ground, so that we don't see loss of lives. In Kasarani alone, we've lost approximately 15 people to these floods. The number is not yet confirmed, but we don't want to see more loss of lives. And then what I want to also encourage is we need a long-term solution to this issue. Why I say that is that we've seen continued urbanization, and I don't know why, and I don't want Kura to feel like I keep calling them out, but it's because even in the proposed budget that they've brought forward, I can see they want to allocate approximately 600 million to footpaths, what they call footpaths. I think in terms of priority, footpaths are good and they'll make the city very beautiful, but the city is not just the city center. In places that I mentioned, in Ruai, in Jiru, those areas, we have no tarmac roads. And this is one of the reasons why, when these floods come, the whole area is cut off, because nobody can move in and out. People are marooned in their houses. Some of that budget, please use it to construct roads and proper drainage systems in those areas, because with the climate change that is happening, we are going to see more rainfall in the coming days. Maybe not this season, but during the short rains in December, we'll definitely see more rain. Next year, we'll see more rain. When I got into politics, I kept saying we cannot be having the same problems every single year. In Kenya, every year we have flooding. And then every year again, we have drought. We need permanent solutions to these problems. And we are in the budget allocation process. Let's allocate proper funding to those areas so that we don't keep having these same problems. It's better to allocate funds to ensure the flooding doesn't happen than allocating funds for disaster, funds for rescuing people. That is what is going to save Nairobi. Yes, and that's why I'm saying those particular areas, Njiru, Ruai, all the way to Kamulu, they are all not connected to the sewer systems. They are all not connected to drainage systems. They are all not connected to water. I know there's a project that is upcoming that's going to do all that infrastructure connection, but at the same time, all that connectivity that's supposed to happen in those areas is supposed to come along with all the other infrastructure, because people are moving to those areas. There's a time I mentioned that Sakaja, the governor of Nairobi, had mentioned that the only way for Nairobi is to go up. I tend to differ because we have a lot of land in Kamulu and Ruai, which is still Nairobi. Instead of going up, create proper infrastructure in those areas, and people can comfortably live in those areas. If we have proper roads, drainage, sewer systems, Nairobi is very big. People can live in Ruai, and they can come work in the CBD. The problem is that we are concentrating all this infrastructure in a very small area of Nairobi and neglecting the larger Nairobi, whereby if you build the infrastructure there, you will actually take care of this flooding issue, because when you have this concrete jungle on this side, the water flows all the way from here, it finds its way there in Ruai, where you affect a lot of people's lives there by displacing them. While if you had built those areas better, left the city center as green as it should be, instead of building a lot of flats in one particular area and overloading the system in this particular area, then you're going to take care of actually that issue. So I want to actually implore the county government in terms of planning for the city. You can spread it out. We have land in Nairobi. Ruai is 100 square kilometers as a ward, all the way to Kamulu. There is enough area there to build all the developments you want without overloading the system in terms of drainage, sewer systems, even the road infrastructure.